A few very basic part design feature recognition video tutorials using Catia, and although there are several good ones available on internet or on YouTube, but I want to make my own contribution so that it's understandable by somebody who's not an expert. The part design feature recognition toolbar in the Catia program is as it's showing on the screen here. And the reason that you may need something like that is suppose you were asked to do some analysis or some review of the part that was created on a different software. Now, obviously, if that software was not Catia, you will not be able to open it up in the Catia program. And the way around that is you should ask the people who want you to review it to send it to you in a form such as what is called STP format, or sometimes they call it step format. And there are other ones too, but this is the most commonly used for solid parts. And once you get that STP file format, you can open it up in Catia. Okay, so I have already created something here, and let me go and open it up. I already have a folder. I already have a folder here. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, and in that I have, of course, the part that I'm not going to open up. And this is the thing, the file that has extension .stp is what you're going to be opening up. So let's go to the Catia program and File, Open, and there is that folder that I showed you, and there is the program, there is the file with extension STP. So you select it and you say Open. Okay. First of all, it says that the transfer is completed, and there's a report file that you can go and find out if you look at it. And there we are. Now notice that this is what was sent to you. It's not a part. It was not a Catia part file. It was a step file. And if you go to the part body and open it up, you see that there is no history. For example, if you decided to change the size of this hole, or let's say make some changes here to this part, to this padded rectangle, then you won't be able to go to the appropriate line in the tree because there is no history associated with it. So this is where we need to use this particular toolbar, which says part recognition, part design feature recognition. And there is the first one is manual, the second one is automatic, and the last one is the part analysis. Let's be very basic here and not worry about all the possibilities. So I want to be able to extract some of these features so that I can make changes to it, because right now it is what I call a dumb solid. Now, of course, I can apply material to this thing, take it to the finite element module and mesh it and run it. However, if you want to change the size of this or that, or basically the geometry, then you have to use part design feature recognition facility. The first thing I'm going to do, I have to make sure that this is work object. Okay, now because if you don't do it, it will tell you that, wait a minute, this has to be the in-work object. Okay, so let's try it. Here is manual feature recognition. You click on it, immediately it tells you that feature recognition requires that in-work object to be active. So I say okay. So I'm going to put the cursor there, right click, and then define in-work object. So selected now. Now I click on this, and this guy opens up. Notice that there's two basically tabs here: manual and automatic. Okay, manual, automatic. So let me do that manually the first time. I see that there is something here that looks like a hole, okay? You may even think about this thing as pocket. The only problem is that if you select the pocket and you want to find out, is this a pocket or not? Well, you can select it, there's no problem, but let me do that actually. Okay, so I select this, and I select the top curve, and I say, okay, show it to me. Ah, look, the pocket appeared underneath the part body. It's right there. All right, I could have done it as a whole, but for now this is a very basic tutorial, so we're going to do some very simple scenarios. And well, let's look at this guy now. Again, manual, and this looks like a pad to me. Okay, so I select the pad radio button here, and then it says, okay, what is it that you want to find? It looks like this is the pad, right? You click on it, that face is selected, and you say, okay, and there we are. Look, right there. So this is the base. There's nothing I can do to this. I have to leave it the way it is. Now, if I want to see the part body, because this is just basically the dump solid that was sent to you after you extracted those features, you say right click, properties, in work object, and notice that they appear. Now you can go to each one of these and make the appropriate changes. For example, I can go to this sketch. There's a pocket right there. And I can go to the sketch. This radius, suppose that you want to make a change. So let me put a dimension on it. I don't know what it is right now. It says diameter 0.9. So let me make it diameter 0.5. And exit. Notice that the dump solid that was sent to you, now you can actually add some intelligence to it and make some changes. If you look at, there's the pad. For example, I can go to the sketch and make the appropriate changes, or I can go to pad. Let's say I didn't want it 1 inch, I want it 0.2 inches. There we are. Okay. Now, obviously, you can apply material here, material to this. Let me do that for now. Although your interest may not be finite element, but I showed you why you need, why you may need feature recognition, metal, aluminum on the part, and okay. We go to generative structure analysis. This is going to get meshed automatically based on some default size. We are doing static analysis. So let me change the, I'll use the default size. How about that? Okay, fine. So if you want to see the mesh, it looks like that. This is a horrible mesh, of course, because it's too coarse, but that's not the issue here. So I'm going to deactivate that, and maybe you apply some kind of a load. So let's say the top of this thing is completely, well, let's say the bottom of this is completely fixed. And we apply some kind of pressure to this pad here, to the surface of that pad. So I don't know, where is the pressure? There's the load. Okay, there's the pressure on that face, 50 psi. Let me make it 500, well, 100 psi. But these are very small dimensions. So, and then we're going to run it. And it's done. So there is the stresses. If you assume that the mesh was satisfactory, then this is the stress distribution, 1 meter stress distribution in that part. Now this mesh is horrible because this patchiness shows you that the mesh is not fine enough, but that was not the real issue. I wanted to remind you why we did this thing, because somebody sent us a dump solid, and we wanted to make some modifications in it. So what we did is use the part design feature recognition, and we extracted some features out of it and made appropriate changes, and then did the job. So the next few video tutorials on feature recognition is going to concentrate on different scenarios and the different things that you can do with these icons. All right.